June the 14th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at images of the Gulf of Mexico and the northwestern section of the Caribbean. Now, what we've been looking at, and I'm going to put this in motion in just a moment, is we've been watching the area of the Bay of Campeche for the last 3 days, and it's something different about it. I know I've said it at least in 2 different videos. It's almost like something is overheating that area. Take that as you will. I'm going to play this forward, and I'm going to put it at a couple of different speeds because I think it's not only heating this area, whatever it is, but also the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. Let's play this forward. Now it's going to go through the overnight period. There's the sun rising, and I've got it just at normal speed here. You've got activity here, but notice this area. I said it looked like there was like a forest fire smoke or something like that going on. But of all the movement that's going on all through this map, very little is happening here. Again, I think it's some type of heat source, and that's my female husky, Tina Bell. She's now a year and a half old, and she's trying to get somebody to play with her. Anyway, what I've been watching, and it's a little bit concerning, again, is this area here. Something is not right about this section of the Bay of Campeche. Something that I can say for sure is not right because I've been watching it ever since there were satellite images, because way before there was that, we were watching hurricanes and tracking them. You remember the old maps you could get free at the grocery store or whatever, and then you could mark an X wherever the longitude and latitude came in on the news that afternoon. I do very well. But now it's a little more technical and much more advanced, and it's really a life-saving technology as far as being able to observe it. But something's happening in this area. Now, if it was, as LBJ said, he who controls the weather controls the world. If it's that situation now, is it a last-ditch effort to prevent something going on in Cuba that is very concerning and getting very much more serious by the hour? We do all remember the Bay of Pigs and the Russian missile crisis and all of that, right? Except we had a different type of leadership there. And now we don't have that leadership. But why are we seeing this? Again, this is something different. I just can't explain it exactly what I'm seeing, except that it looks like this spot is being heated and causing a lot of weather problems that's been going across Florida. You get a wave in since that first initial full day and a half of deluge, over 20 inches of rain. Now it's going back to this pattern, but look at this outer section, guys. That's a tropical look of a storm if I've ever seen it. Now, here over the Yucatan Peninsula, I'm going to speed this up again. It goes overnight. And when I speed it up, I want you to check out what you're seeing there, and this may be the next storm coming into the Gulf. We've looked at the different models, both the Canadian, the GFS, and the Navy, and we've seen activity from the models coming into either Mexico or Texas or straight up into Louisiana, guys. But let me speed this up. But watch this area, and if you pay attention to it, you can see the rotation that's under this section. Again, it looks like the whole area is being, again, superheated, but I guess you can see it, guys, right there. See that rotation? There's the center. So once this gets out into the Gulf, and we're seeing less and less wind shear starting to happen because of the lack of El Nino, this may be something we really need to pay attention to. Again, I don't know if they're trying to welcome our comrades into Cuba or not. But there's been a lot of reports that are not substantiated by a couple of guys on YouTube that always say they have a lot of sources, and I know everyone says that. But most of the time they've been wrong. I'm not going to mention any names right now. But as far as the Russians have dropped something off near Florida or something like that, they're so close. They're minutes away. They're seconds away from any type launch they want to do. I don't know if they dropped anything off or not. I'm just saying, some of these people that are saying that have never disclosed their sources, and most of the time they've been wrong. And every video they do, and I'm not going to call names out, guys, but they hype like it's death tomorrow. Every video, 100%, it's over. And that should tell you either they are just doing it for clickbait or they are the paid opposition. And that opposition can work in a couple of different ways. It can it can point people in a different direction, or it can create the situation of the boy who cried wolf. In other words, you keep calling it long enough that it's over tomorrow, we have 2 days left, whatever it is. People quit watching. They quit listening to that boy crying wolf over the hill there, and he finally gets eaten by wolves. So that can happen in a psyop also. Something's going on here, though, and I just want to get back to that. But, guys, we need to pay attention to this area. Again, we know that El Nino's out of it, but look at the pattern here, and look at the curve. We know it's starting to drift south, but right here it takes a very hard turn. See that? Rotating back into this area that I'm concerned about. Look at this area, guys. It's like a forest fire when the wind's dying down. It's been like that for 3 days. Something's not quite right. There's too much movement everywhere else for that to stay stationary like this. So you see the movement here. It's moving moving west. Then here it's moving to the south more. But this area right here is not being affected. I think that's the point of contact for whatever they're trying to do. And I don't usually talk about man's manipulation of the weather until I see something that I have not seen, and I've been watching these since satellites were invented that watched the Gulf of Mexico. Okay? So something's not quite right. This whole setup is not right. Normally I would say because we're seeing this flood covering Florida and the wild weather and all, that it's simply the tilt of the planet, which could have something to do with it. But something in the Bay of Campeche and the Yucatan is not quite right. I'm going to speed it up one more frame. Yucatan. See that rotation? It looks like it disappears. It doesn't. It simply gets covered by these clouds right there at the end. So watch for sometimes tonight or in the morning for the reports to show this center of rotation, this low pressure area, move into the Gulf, off the Yucatan, and we'll have to go from there. But the overall pattern, again, coming this way, there's a lot of energy there. Look how it's wrapping back around. See that? A tremendous amount of energy and moisture, again, there's my Huskies, is involved in whatever's going on. So let's pay close attention to it, guys. We're watching it. Before I go, let me switch to the infrared radar. Again, switching to infrared here, guys. Here is the outline of the Yucatan, kind of where I'm going right there. This area is starting to pull showers around that point of rotation. You can barely see it here, but you know it's there. Also, this is just sitting there. I don't know what's going to happen. But what it looks like to me, we got, if you look at the lower cloud cover coming in from the Caribbean, it's coming up in here. It's blending, and then it's all wrapping around. And it's coming out through Florida. I hope you guys get a break. I noticed this afternoon this section here start to pop up. Watch it. This afternoon, and it gets north, goes north of Tampa Bay, and right here, it's still giving a lot of folks a little bit of a break this morning. It wasn't that much of one. After 20 inches of rain, you were looking at 6 inches more, and I don't know how that's working out quite, but right now, this is the active section, again, above Tampa Bay, cutting right through. I guess that would be the Cape Canaveral area right through there. Again, just a heads up, guys, everything's kind of strange. Look how fast this system is moving. It's coming down really out of Oklahoma, but watch the winds coming out of Louisiana pouring north. Everything, when the winds start going in opposite directions, you get that tornadic vortex effect. And again, this is something I'm not used to seeing. I've watched it a long time. It may be just me. I may just be getting old and crazy. You know how that works. But we need to watch this area, guys. It's a heads up. We'll report in the morning. Be safe.
It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.